Steps to home ownership in South Florida. So today we're going to talk about different steps that can help you guide you through the process on owning a home, particularly in South Florida. One is you want to kind of assess your financial readiness. And there's a couple of components to that. Let's talk about your credit. So your credit score, you want to kind of aim for your score to be 620 and higher. This will help you get better approvals, better rates, quicker. Your debt to income ratio. Your debt to income ratio should be under 43%. Savings. One thing you want to make sure you have is good savings, because you need savings for down payment. You need savings for closing costs. And also you want to make sure you have some additional money in the event that there's some small repairs of that home. Also, if you want to purchase furniture, you need moving costs and so forth. The other key piece is employment stability. Lenders like to see someone who has steady income. And particularly, they're looking at 1 to 2 years or more. The next step, after you determine you're ready, you had those conversations with your immediate family, all your players that's going to be involved, you want to kind of talk to a lender. It's very critical that you speak to a local lender. They know all the ins and outs on what it takes to be a home buyer. With that lender, they're going to determine your pre-approval amount. It kind of determines how much house you can get. In other words, you never want to go out shopping for a $600,000 house. And when you get to the lending stage, you're only approved for a $400,000 house. It also allows you to know what your max is and what is wiseable to work with when you're looking for a home. You want to kind of stay under that max. Also, lenders are going to be able to give you options based on your criteria. If your loan is going to be a FHA, a conventional, or a USDA loan, which is limited in certain areas. Also, you want to talk about first-time home buyers. Are there any first-time home buyers? Are there any down payment assisting programs out there for you? Your lender will kind of guide you through that. The next step is understanding the market for South Florida, our wonderful market. You want to kind of understand what your mortgage payment is going to be with your lender. They will take in consideration a couple of things. They will give you information about property taxes. Just keep in mind that the property taxes that you look at on the listings are not the property taxes that you are going to assume. That once you receive your taxes are going to increase once you get that property. So please keep that in mind. Homeowner insurance. We are in a hurricane state. So your insurance is very critical that you understand what that looks like. Flood insurance. Some properties are in flood zones. It's required that you have flood insurance. So you want to kind of keep that in mind also. HOA and condo fees. South Florida is big for those fees. Some communities have high fees, some communities have low fees. It all depends on if there's reserves in that community. Also, some communities have additional fees on top of that. It's called maintenance fees. So you want to kind of speak to your lender about that, those possibilities, so you can kind of understand where you want to be when it comes down to your monthly payment. The next thing is choosing the right location. You want to kind of make sure that the location that you're choosing is not a high price location. We know in South Florida, you go from one area to the next and the prices vary. Also on coastal, we know that coastal, when you're selecting coastal properties, the insurance is higher. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. Also, when looking at locations, you want to think about your commute to work. How long is it going to take you to get to work? You want to think about some of the schools, long-term value of that property. Do you foresee that that property value is going to increase? And also, again, flood zones. You want to kind of know if that property is in a flood zone. The next thing, after speaking to the lender and you have ironed out all those details, you want to kind of call me as your real estate agent. You want to find someone who's local, someone who knows the market, someone who knows the areas, the prices, what's hot, what's not, someone that has worked with different agents, that has built relationships with different agents, insurance companies, lenders, and so forth.